Hello my friends, Lenny with Vintage Nationals on the web at nationalguitar.com. I've actually have a beautiful new arrival, a 1934 Duolian that just came in. And this guitar is in stellar condition. It's a one-owner guitar from the original family. Guitar essentially has been played in about 40 years. And I'm going to open this up for the first time and take a look inside with you. As you can see, the body is in just stellar condition. Most all the paint's on there. Beautiful Duco finish on the back. Mahogany neck with the original tuners. National Duolian in the headstock. One of the interesting things about this guitar, if you can see the serial number, C7228. And that tells me this is the 7,200th Duolian that had been built. So they started putting out Duolians in 1930. That means in the first 4 years they had built over 7,000 Duolians. So most of the production of the original National Company was done in Los Angeles in those first few years that they were in business down there, starting in 1927. But they had already gotten to 7,000 Duolians while still doing the 12-fret body. Now, one of the neat things about this guitar is it does have the rolled-in F-holes, which you can see. And that was a feature that's fairly desirable out there, as they didn't make that many, and theoretically it stiffened the top of the guitar. So I'm going to open this up in front of you. We'll get the camera looking inside and you'll see the same thing I see. See the beautiful condition that the headstock is in. Frets, excellent condition. Really a beautiful piece of ebony. And there's our rolled in F-holes. As you can see, they are rolled in versus just stamped. Some of the things that I can see on this guitar is that it has been opened at least once before. Now, why do I know that? Well, two things. Now, as I look closely at these screws, this one right here has actually kind of been opened up a little bit. Someone used the wrong screwdriver on it. So this was opened one time, probably. As I look down at the saddle, it's pretty low above the biscuit. There's the biscuit, there's the saddle going across. We're going to look inside, but see how low that saddle is? So I'm imagining that someone along the way took this cover plate off and lowered that saddle down to lower the action. Now, one of the things that I do is use the right screwdriver. This is my very special Little Red. When Little Red's in a fresh screw, it's super tight. The reason these things get widened out is someone uses too small of a screwdriver, and by the time they turn it, it opens them up a little bit. And these are brass screws on here, so they're soft. So I'm going to take off the tailpiece first and then work my way around. I'll speed this up so we can get to looking inside. You also note that this now has the ribbed cover plate on it. By 1934 they had gone to the ribbed cover plate. Earlier ones just had a smooth cover plate. Now the same thing with the tailpiece. You need to use a big thick screwdriver because there's a big heavy wood screw on there. So let's go ahead and take these screws off one at a time. Being very careful not to disturb the Duco paint finish, which is a very thin finish, a lacquer finish. And there you can see how big these screws are, not very big at all. Here we go. Let's take the cover plate off. Pretty typical. Now you can see this saddle right here is a little lower than is typical on these guitars. So I would say that the reason this cover plate was taken off is someone lowered this saddle down to get the action just a little bit lower. The original cone is looking quite nice. So as you can see, we have the obligatory dust bunny. We've got a dust covered spiraled cone, which I will take off. Let's remove the bunny for posterity's sake. And we shall lift the cone. As you can see, this neck has never been adjusted. Now, it's awful dusty inside. Now there's no gasket in here. I know there are people that think that these were consistently made with a gasket. They weren't. Very few had the gasket, but they probably did because there was a little buzz in the cone or the pan wasn't just quite perfectly flat. Another interesting factor is we have the black painted dowels in there, which was not common, but you do see them. Now this neck stick, there's no, as you can see, there's no shim on this side. There is a shim on this side. Neither of these have been changed over time. There's no evidence that there was a shim here that was moved. You can see the nail hole on each side. It's going to go, the nail is going to go straight down into the wooden support post, holding that in place. What we should see on the top here is a piece of mahogany about this big, with this screw going down through that piece of mahogany. Here's a sample I brought in from another guitar of the mahogany strip. On this side, and on this side. And then the neck stick is going between those two pieces all the way to the heel. And there's a screw going through under this dot going into the neck stick right there. So in this case, they put one screw into the neck stick, supports on each side, with a screw going down into that support with a nut on the other side, so it's screwed tight. One on each side. This is just the ornamental dot to give you the 15th fret designation, and there's the 12th fret. So let's take a look inside. Okay, as we look down to the heel of the body, you can see there is a tailpiece block in there, and the screw from the tailpiece is going to be screwed through the tailpiece and into that block, which is behind the neck stick there. Now, when they got to the 14 fretters, they abandoned the heel block altogether and just went with a short, stubby, fatter than this sheet metal screw that just went into the body itself about that much, and that was it. Now things get interesting as we look inside underneath the fingerboard flap. Those mahogany pieces are not in place, and you see a little piece of angle iron coming down. The mahogany pieces would be right alongside the neck stick, and here we are on the right side. You can see the fat screw coming down from the top, and that's in effect replacing the mahogany strips. This is a transitional when they went away from putting the strips in. Here's the heel block again. You can see that it's shimmed both between the neck stick and shimmed on the bottom to be really tight in there. They went away from that when they went to the 14 fretters. And so there you go. We've got our first glimpse. First time this thing's been opened in well over 40 years. We have a beautiful looking cone. Let's take a look at the cone from beneath. As you can see, the cone has the 4 tacks, which is an early feature. Okay, now let's take another look. You can see I've now cleaned the cone. Wow. Is that thing minty or what? As you can see, after a nice cleaning, this cone is in stellar condition. That is a minty cone. So there you go. We've taken a look inside of this beautiful 1934 Duolian. You've got to see for the first time. Of course, we have a nice, beautifully cleaned up cone now, but you got to see this in its current state, which was 40 plus years of not playing, if not longer. And we got to see the inside of this beautiful Duolian. You can see the overspray of the Duco finish. There's actually little crystals in there if you look close. Got to see the cover plate and the back side of the cover plate. You got to see the actual dust bunny that was sitting on the cone. And you saw where the tailpiece screwed into the tail block on the back side of this. Hope you like this little tour of the inside of this guitar. See you at the Pick and Parlor, nationalguitar.com.